So far what we talked about and what we have seen in the system as a simulation, let's make a note. So we have seen how to create accounting calendar. And we discussed about currency part. And also we created chart of accounts. Okay. As a quick recap, okay, we are not going to do this kind of recap very frequently. So, but since these are very beginning sessions, so we will have a quick recap on all these what we completed. Currency, we are not going to do anything. It's a predefined Oracle delivered. And quickly we'll go and create accounting calendar and the chart of accounts so that we can proceed with our primary lecture. Okay. Hardly it may take 15 minutes time for us. Okay, again to create chart of accounts and accounting calendar so that we can connect to all the dots. From there we will proceed and we'll discuss and we'll proceed accordingly. Okay, quickly we'll create calendar and chart of accounts, then we'll create our primary ledger by using the required components. Yeah. So to create accounting calendar, we use the task called as manage accounting calendar task. Go to setup and maintenance. Search for the task called as accounting calendars. So click on manage accounting calendars. Click on plus icon. Our calendar name is ADP ACCCAL. Select start date as Jan 1st and click on next. Rest all we discussed, we are just repeating one more time. Say save and close. This is how we created accounting calendar. Now, to create the chart of accounts, we have to perform the multiple tasks. Quickly, we'll just simulate all the tasks. So first we have to create value set. To create the value set, we have a task called as manage chart of accounts value sets. Any task you can use. You can use value set values or value sets. By using this task, we created value sets. Let's create value sets as this how we created ADP company. Module is nothing but application. Select as a general ledger. Validation type is independent. Value data type is character. Value subtype is a text. Length, we have taken 4. The same repeat here. Next value set is going to be department. ADP department. Select module as general ledger application. Validation type is independent. Value data type is character. Subtype is text. Maximum length, say 4 characters. So save and close. Next segment is account. So create value set for account segment. The module name is general ledger. Validation type independent. Value data type is character. Subtype is text. The maximum length, say 5 characters. Save and close. Next value set for intercompany. ADP intercompany. Select module as general ledger. Validation type independent. Value data type is character. Subtype is text. Maximum length same as a company 4. So here we created another segment called as project. Create value set for the same. ADP project. Subtype is text. Length, let's take it as a 4. And 2 more value sets we have to create, future 1 and future 2. ADP future 1 Select module as a general ledger. Validation type independent. Value data type is character. Value subtype is text. Maximum length. Say 4. Say save and close. ADP feature 2. Module is general ledger. Validation type is independent. Value data type is character. Subtype is text. Length say 4. Done. So our value sets are ready. Now we'll go and create chart of account structure and instance. So say we are not doing anything new. Whatever we completed, we are replicating. Just click on search, click on manage structures, click on plus icon. The structure name is ADP, accounting flex field. Take structure code as a name. Set delimiter, so dot, click on save. Now create segments within the structure. The first segment is company. The same segment code used as a segment name. Sequence 1, prompt is same company. Short prompt you can take as a CO company. Display with 20 characters. Column name is segment 1. Value set assign, which is created for company. ADP company. Say okay. And for company segment, assign primary balance in segment label. Save and close. The next segment is department. Department. Copy and use. Sequence number is 2. Prompt is department. Short name. Display with 20. Column name is segment 2. Value set. Assign ADP department value set to our department segment. For department, we have to qualify as cost center segment label. Okay, department we are qualifying with cost center segment label. So save and close. Click on plus icon. The next segment name is account. Copy. Take as a name. Sequence. Third segment. Prompt is same. Short prompt. Display with 20 characters. The column name or number 3. Assign account value set. For account, assign natural account segment label. Save and close. The next segment is intercompany. Sequence 4. Display width 20. ADP intercompany. And assign intercompany segment label to intercompany segment. So save and close. The next segment is going to be project, as we discussed. copy, use as a name and prompt, set sequence as a the fifth segment. Short prompt, display with 20. The column name is fifth, value set, ADP project. Save and close. Click on plus icon. Segment name is future one. Sequence number. So sequence number is sixth. Prompt. So display with 20. Sixth. The value set name is ADP future one. And say save and close. Just one more segment is future two. Seventh segment, prompt, short prompt, display with 20 characters, segment number 7, assign value set. Save and close. Click on save and close. Click on done. Now we are going to create instance against the structure. Manage structure instances. Click on plus icon. ADP accounting flex. This is how we given a name earlier also. Same I'm taking as this. And we want to create the instance based on which structure. Select the structure, ADP accounting flex field, and set all these segments as a required into our instance. Say OK. Select department, click on edit, enable it as required and say OK. Repeat the same for all the segments. You should not skip any segment. So what are the segments we required? Based on the requirement, we are creating the chart of account structure. The chart of account structure we cannot use as it is, that need to be transformed as a instance. That is the reason we are converting. So here we are not going to choose what segment is required, which segment is not required. Whatever we need, we created, everything we have to copy and set as a required. Done. Now click on save and close. Our chart of account structure and instance is ready. Now what we did, so after we completed all these tasks. Now submit for deployment. What deployment will look for, those points also discussed. So now submit for deployment. After deployment, the next step is we can go and create the segment values. During the segment values, you set the value attributes. You may duplicate this page. One-way system will work on the deployment. For our chart of accounts, if deployment is completed, then we'll be able to start entering the values. We'll give a try. Setup and maintenance. Go to chart of accounts, value sets task. Select financials. Now search. Chart of accounts, value sets, or value set values. Any task you can use. Okay, one way it is deploying. So that is the reason it is taking time. Sometimes that may happen in that way, but ideally it should support. It's about to complete. Just wait for a moment. Or else we can try from the different browser. It won't take much time. The same browser, okay. So if you're trying to perform multiple tabs, multiple tasks under different tabs, right? May respond, may not respond. Just change the browser. It would be very much isolated. It will support without any challenges. ADP. Okay, no worries. Let it complete deployment and we'll proceed. It may take 2 more minutes and we'll wait and we'll proceed with the next step. Okay. So once deployment complete, we have seen how to create the segment values in the respective value sets. Accordingly, we can map the value attributes. Allow budgeting, allow posting always by default, yes. And summary already we discussed. Summary is by default no. That means it's not a parent value. If you set summary as yes, with that you cannot create any transactions. So apart from that, one another point we noticed, because of natural account segment label, because of natural account segment label for account related segment values, system added 4 more additional value attributes like account type, third party control account, reconcile, financial category. They are the four additional value attribute system added just because of natural account segment label. The primary attribute is account type. So every account you have to designate with respect to nature, what nature the account has, whether it's expense or asset, liability, ownership or revenue, that nature you have to set up. So that's what we discussed. Fine. Now, another point we discussed in the last session is by grouping calendar, currency, chart of accounts. Okay, by grouping calendar, currency, chart of accounts, we create primary ledger. By grouping these three components, we create primary ledger. When you create the primary ledger, the three components, you can create the transactions within the GL. We can create the transactions within the GL. But if you want to record the transactions in any application, along with these three C's, we have to include one more C called as accounting method. Accounting method. This is C Oracle is just addressing as to be included as a fourth C. And for this accounting method, there is a technical term called as accounting convention. You may consider as if from convention C we have to take, but as per Oracle documentation, so this is what Oracle is just highlighting. Okay, you can call it as accounting convention, but as per system, you see always the name as accounting method, or you call it as subledger accounting method. Those we will understand going forward. For now, you take as accounting method. Okay, accounting method. If you create the primer ledger with the four C's, you will be able to use this primer ledger across all the applications. If you want to use in GL, you can use it. In GL, anyway, three are required. We have four. So when you create the transactions in these applications, so there we need fourth component called as accounting method, which consists of accounting rules. In any application, if you create any transaction that need to be accounted, the same information we have to send to GL. Okay, the same information we have to send to GL. So for that reason, every transaction need to be accounted. If you want to account the transactions, accounting method will help us to create accounting entries. So this is all about primary ledger. So without primary ledger, we cannot create any transactions in the system. Okay, without primary ledger, you cannot create the transaction in the system. That's what we completed. So no worries, once deployment complete, we'll create the values, the same process. How we create the values, we'll see once again. So now we are clear about primary ledger. What is the purpose? What we are going to have inside of the primary ledger? What we are going to have? Four components. The four components will help us to create the transactions in any application. So by using this primary ledger, if you create transactions in any application, the data can get stored within the primary ledger. Once data is available in the primary ledger, we'll be able to generate the reports. So along with the primary ledger, what else we have to create in the system as a part of solution? When we do the Oracle Fusion implementation for the client, primary ledger is the one which will help us to record the transactions within the system environment. Along with this primary ledger, what else we have to create in the system to facilitate the customer or client to record their day-to-day business transactions more segregated and secured manner. What we have to facilitate. So what we have to facilitate when we talk about it, it's all about data arrangement. As a part of business, what data they have to maintain, accordingly we have to create the logical segregation within the system. Okay, the logical segregation we have to create in the system based on the company is going to deal what data and what activities they are performing. Accordingly, we have to set up something in the system with a logical segregation. What exactly we have to set up along with the primary ledger. Okay, let's look into that. Once we are clear, we can proceed. We'll create our primary ledger. Before that, we'll add the values. We'll create our primary ledger and we'll create one transaction and we'll create rest. That's how we can keep going. Now we are clear about primary ledger purpose and what components we can have in the primary ledger. So when you look at any company, the key data or key data classification is like employees. Okay. So employees data, every company should maintain. Along with the employees data, they have to maintain or manage their registration data. Okay, their company registration data and very primarily their business transactions. Their business transaction and their stock related information. Stock, you can say items or goods, any term you can use. So employees is very important to run the business operations. The registration is very, very important. And once employees and registration in place, they have to perform the business activities, procuring and selling or any other activities. Primary activities are like purchasing and making the payment and selling and collecting the payment from customer. Those are the core activities. And stock. When they purchase, they have to maintain the stock, how much they have, or else they may not purchase, they may manufacture. Okay, they may do the manufacturing activity. That's how they can make the items. And when they're going to sell the item to the customers, yes, stock is very important. Whatever the stock they have, accordingly, they can do the transactions. They can commit to the customers as they are going to supply since they have enough stock as per demand. So that's how it could be. When you procure, you get items. When you sell, the item will go out. It could be stock related inflow or outflow. They have to maintain in the system. So these are the four very, very primary areas. Okay, maintaining the employees information, maintaining the registration information, maintaining their day-to-day business transaction related activities, and maintaining the stock if they are dealing with the items. If they are dealing with the services, stock is not going to be very important for them. Yes, the services also they may create in the system as a stock also for their convenience of transactions they may create, but that is up to them. Okay, so this is a key information for any company. Okay, employees registration, day-to-day business transaction, stock, these details we treat as a very critical information for any company. Now, to facilitate, to maintain and manage this information in the system, what Oracle is offering, to maintain any company related employees information, Oracle is providing one concept called as enterprise. In our Fusion instance, within the Fusion environment, we have to create the enterprise definition. We have to create the enterprise. With the enterprise concept, you can maintain the employees information. How do you maintain the employees information within the Fusion instance? With enterprise concept. And how you are going to maintain the registration information in the Fusion instance. Okay, registration, the company registration. So what is the purpose and where they are operating, what is the physical office address or headquarters. So they are dealing with which products, which services, everything they have to get certified, and that information they have to maintain in the system. The company, any company registration information we maintain in Oracle Fusion applications, okay, with the naming convention called as legal entity. Short name we use as a LE. Okay, with the legal entity concept, we can maintain the company registration information and business transactions. To create and maintain the business transactions within our system environment, when you say system, within Fusion applications, within the Fusion applications, what is the logical segregation Oracle is offering? Okay, what is the kind of placeholder, or what is the labeling, or what is the naming convention? So we are going to use to create a group and to maintain the business transaction. The name is business unit. The short name is B. Okay. By using the business unit, we can create the business transaction in the system. Okay. How we derive that concept called as business unit, we'll discuss. Now we are talking to maintain the employees, what we require, registration information, how we maintain in our Fusion applications. And if you want to record the business transactions within the Fusion applications, what we need, of course, we need primary ledger to record. So apart from that, what else we require? And to maintain the stock, what we need within the Fusion applications, that is inventory organization. Okay, what we need is inventory organization. To maintain the employees information enterprise, to maintain the registration information legal entity, to record the day-to-day business transactions in the system, We need business unit to maintain the stock related information. We need inventory organization as per our Oracle Fusion applications. As per our Oracle Fusion applications, or you can say as per our Oracle Fusion cloud applications. Okay, we already discussed where you have to use the cloud if the applications are deployed in the client or say Oracle servers or client Oracle servers. Or simply you can say if you are using virtual servers. So this is what we have to create in our system environment so that this all we can manage. So as we discussed already, along with these, to record the transactions, to capture the date, to capture the description, to capture the currency information, along with these definitions within the system, we have to do one more definition, that is our primary ledger. Okay, we have to create primary ledger here. Enterprise for employees, primary ledger to capture. You will be recording the transaction primarily at business unit level, day-to-day business transaction. If you want to record the transactions in specific business unit, we need calendar, currency, chart of accounts, and accounting. So for that, we use the primary ledger. To record company registration information in the system, we need legal entity so that with the help of legal entity, we can report to the government about the tax related reporting or any sort of reporting you can do with the legal entity. So business unit is kind of placeholder. So where you just create the real business transactions with the title called as business unit. And inventory organization, nothing but warehouse. If any company is operating the business, say they have 20 warehouses, the 20 warehouses will create in the system as inventory organizations. Now the point is, okay, how many we have to create? When we are doing the implementation for any client, how many enterprises we have to create, how many primary ledgers we need to create, how many legal entity, business unit, inventory organization, that is very, very important. Okay, so that is very, very important. So based on that, we'll be able to based on that understanding, we'll be able to provide the solution to the client. It's very critical to understand. So how many we have to create when we do the implementation? It's a pretty simple if you understand. So when you talk about enterprise, you are doing the implementation for one client. Let the client operate the business in one country or 100 countries, doesn't matter for us. Always enterprise is only one. The reason Oracle is providing one instance for only one client. Okay, the same instance they are not going to give to multiple clients. So when you are practicing on the instance, you can see the variety of project names. Everybody will go with their names. But reality, every instance is dedicated for the client. If you are implementing for ABC INC, the instance will be used by ABC INC. XYZ INC is not going to use that instance. So that's how it works. Means in every instance, you can have only one enterprise. Okay, only one. Enterprise purpose is employees information. Okay, but we are going to have only one. Take example, the client is operating the business in 10 countries. Now 10 countries employees information you have to maintain in the system. 10 countries employees information we have to maintain within the same system. When you are maintaining the 10 countries employees information in the same system with the concept called as enterprise, how to segregate the data? How to segregate each country employees data? To segregate each country employees data, we have one concept called as LDZ. So this is as for HCM, Human Capital Management, LDZ. LDZ stands for legislative data group. With this LDZ within the enterprise, employees information can be grouped into different countries looping. Okay, for every country we create one LDZ. We are implementing Oracle Fusion applications for 4 countries: India, US, UK, and say Canada. For 4 countries, we are implementing Fusion applications. Now we create 4 LDCs. So every employee will tag to this legislative data group. Every employee will belongs to specific legislative data group. So that's how easily employees can be segregated and we can run the payrolls accordingly. Okay, HCM team, not finance. We don't run any payrolls. The HCM team, okay, so can easily understand which employees belongs to which legislative data group. Every legislative data group refers one country. So that's how we no need to worry about if you are going to do the implementation for 100 countries. So there is a logic to segregate country specific information. But you may implement for 10 countries or 100 countries, but enterprise is going to be same. Entire company is going to be same, client or customer is going to be same. That is the reason only one enterprise. Under one enterprise, you may have a number of legislative data group. By default, for every country, we'll have one legislative data group. So that's how like we can decide how many enterprises we have to create. Okay, how many enterprises we have to create. Only one. One is possible. So enterprise for employees information, how you effectively you can maintain the employees information, which is a country specific, and to run the payrolls without any challenges. We use LDZ concept. LDZ is a part of HCM solution, not finance. But we should aware what is that. That is the one thing. The other enterprise unit is primary ledger. Okay, when we are going to create logical segregation of client business, so we have to classify and maintain the different sets of data. One of the classification is enterprise to classify and maintain the employees. Another aspect is primary ledger. How many primary ledgers we have to create? How many primary ledgers we have to create? We have to create typically one primary ledger per country. We don't need to create more than one. If client wants to maintain more than one, yes, we can create, but as a best practice, there is no great benefit if you are going to create more than one primary ledger. Okay, one primary ledger is enough. Okay, for one country. If you are going to do the implementation for 10 countries, definitely we need 10 primary ledgers. When you talk about primary ledger, what we are including within the primary ledger? We are including calendar, currency, chart of accounts, accounting method. So you are implementing for 2 countries. For 2 countries, calendar may be same. For 2 countries, their financial year may be Jan to December. Okay, financial year could be Jan to December. In that case, only one calendar. Chart of accounts, reality, we use same chart of account for multiple countries. Okay, so if you are using one chart of account for multiple countries, that we call as global chart of accounts. That we call as global chart of account. Almost in all the implementations, okay, we use the same chart of accounts. If you are implementing for 10 countries, we use same chart of accounts. Okay, that's how it works. Accounting method Oracle is providing, ideally we use. Okay, ideally we use. And the currency, whatever the country local currency that we use. If you take 2 countries, in 2 countries calendars may be same, means Jan to December. Typically chart of accounts and accounting method we use same. But what about currency? Currency is going to be different. If I want to create one primary ledger for 2 countries, not possible. Calendar, chart of accounts, accounting method can be same or can be different, but take the possibility, probabilities can be same, but currency is not going to be same. For India and US, if you are going to do the implementation, for India you have to use INR, for US you have to use the USD, but within one primary ledger you cannot accommodate more than one functional currency. one local currency. That is the reason. So since currency would be different between the countries, definitely for each country we have to design the solution to have a separate primary ledger. Separate primary ledger. Okay. So one per country is enough. But when we are dealing with the clients, a few clients would be very crazy. We are doing four businesses, our management, etc., etc. Our teams are totally diversified. And since four businesses, we please create four primary ledgers. As a consultant, we should try to educate them. No worries, you might be doing four businesses or 40 businesses, doesn't matter. Will create one primary ledger for your four businesses, and within the primary ledger we can set the security saying that your business data should not be viewed by other business other teams. Okay, other businesses, that you can set, even producing the reports and all, it will become pretty much easy. And we'll try to just tell them what is the best practice, we'll try to convince and we'll try to educate, okay, the client. But few clients they will listen, few clients they'll say no, 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 we need four primary ledgers. When you say four primary ledgers end of the year, from the four primary ledgers we have to bring the data into one place, and it will become some sort of challenge kind of consolidations and all. So typically the best practice is for one country only one primary ledger. Okay. For one country, one primary ledger is the best practice. When we are working, this is the same we have to convey to the client. So because they may have four companies, no issues. Within the same primary ledger, four companies, for which company data you want to allow whom to access, that you can set so that your maintenance also will become easy. For four businesses, if you create four primary ledgers, so in the four primary ledgers, okay, you have to do certain recurring activities. What those will come to know. So kind of period activities, etc., etc. You have to keep repeating. That is the reason always the best practice is one primary ledger. Sometimes you may have to create more than one primary ledger with a different.
Hello.
Any question?
Yeah, I have a question.
Please fix that issue, please. Okay. One reason is multiple companies they have in one country. Still, they can go with one primary ledger. Few clients you will see they always demand for multiple primary ledgers since they
Okay,
have
I'm having a
multiple
question.
customers. Please.
So, like you said, like a primary ledger for one country. So it's more like one for one currency kind, or what specifically one country?
When you say one country, we are saying like one country. It's currency by default one, right? Currency is unique. So we are taking here point as a. Please, please fix that. If you should fix that issue. Yeah, we are looking at country currency anyway one only. Okay, currency would be one. You don't need to address one currency, one primary ledger. You don't need to go with that statement. Ideally, you say one country. When you say one country, even you are not highlighting directly, indirectly, currency is unique.
Okay, so primary ledger should be means the best practice is one per one country, right?
Yes, exactly. For one country, one primary
Whether
ledger is enough.
so whether the currency in both the countries is same, but still it should be different for different country.
Yes, you take some Europe countries. Okay,
Yeah, like Scotland
you
and England, they
yes
both have
you
pound
you
sterling.
may take you may take like you may want to create one primary ledger, okay, two, but you cannot accommodate uh, currency in that if those are different. If it is same, yes, you can accommodate, but still as a best practice, we create, okay, we create separate primary ledgers, even currencies are same for multiple countries. Going forward, how that legalization and the different aspects things are going to pop up, we don't know, right? So that is the reason even in two countries or say in 10 countries, currency can be same. We will create 10 primary ledgers separate.
Okay, it's because I believe it is due to different chart of accounts and different accounting structures.
Not
accounting
because of chart of
practices?
account. Chart of accounts can be same. That is a point we discussed because countries are different. Countries
Okay,
are different. See, uh, two countries we have like same currency. Like you may create one primary ledger. Going forward, in one country they implement the tax, other country no tax, right? They may come
okay,
up with a different statutory reporting requirements. This all will become challenge going forward. So that is
okay,
reason. That's what you no need to think about currency. Currency is one point to understand only. Okay, what makes difference to address that I mentioned currency, but ideally for each country one separate primary ledger. Now it may be cool to create one primary ledger for more than one country since currencies are different. In future it may become challenge. Simply you cannot split that ledger into multiple in future if you want to segregate country wise. Not possible. So, as a best practice, we'll create separate primary ledgers for each country. By default, currencies are different. Even somewhere currencies are same, but still we go with the approach of creating separate primary ledgers for each country. Okay,
okay. Thank you.
that is the point. Yeah. That is one reason. Okay, one reason by default currencies are different. That is reason like for every country will go with a separate primary ledger. Sometimes why you may create more than one primary ledgers. Already you discussed. So if client is insisting to create multiple primary ledgers since they have a multiple businesses, we create reality even they have 100 different businesses also one primary ledger can accommodate and it can meet all the expectations. That's always client decision. That is the reason you may create more than one primary ledger in one country. Other reason could be, say, they have a two different businesses. They have a two different businesses. For two different businesses, they need totally different chart of accounts. Okay. So segments are not at all matching as per their reporting requirements. Segments are not matching. If they want to have a separate chart of accounts for each business, so that is the case where you may have to create separate primary ledgers within one country. Two businesses, you may create two primary ledgers. Reason for two businesses, they have a two different reporting requirements. Okay, totally very distinct segments they have. If they have some common segments and all we can accommodate into one chart of account. The two companies can use if they want to maintain the two separate chart of accounts, definitely we have to create two separate primary ledgers. So that is another case where we come across. You should aware of all these points. So one case is typically like one primary ledger for one country, or else based on the business client may ask you to create the separate primary ledgers. Sometimes maybe in one country, if they want to use different chart of accounts, since they are doing different businesses, then they want to have maintain the different chart of accounts. And in that case, we may create more than one primary ledger in one country. In one country, one primary ledger best practice, and it will make very smoother in terms of maintaining your chart of accounts and ledgers. If you go with more than one, you have to just put more efforts in terms of maintenance and a lot of duplication etc will take place. Okay, so this is the best practice. Okay, one primary ledger for one country, and the most of the projects we come across with only one client will accept. In few projects, the client they don't listen what they think, how they think, they expect the things to happen in that way only. So they will come up with their own reasons. Even if you try to convince, still one primary ledger will support. You can build the security. Everybody will be accessing to their relevant data only, reporting and all. You can generate as per our requirement, but they don't listen. Then finally, we have to listen to them and we have to make how many primary ledgers they require. So that is a story of primary ledger. Any questions here, please? It's a very uh, critical point to understand how many primary ledger. By default, one for one country. In one country, it may be more than one. Reason could be different businesses. They may want to have a different primary ledgers. Okay, and another reason could be in one country they may want a different chart of accounts. If multiple chart of accounts definitely leads to multiple primary ledgers. Multiple businesses never lead to multiple primary ledgers if those are in the same country, but client may demand. They may say different reasons. Our teams are different, management is different, this is different, that, etc. But it's all okay, but still okay. But they says and they stand with that and they'll ask for separate. In that case, we have to create separate primary ledgers. Any questions on primary ledger, like how many we have to create on what base? If you need any clarity, please. No questions. Hope enterprise also clear. Okay, for one client, only one enterprise. The client might be operating business in multiple countries. Accordingly, as a part of HCM solution, human capital management, not in our finance. As a part of HCM, LDGs can be defined. For each country, one LDG can be defined. So that's how they can manage that part. Any other questions on this place? We'll talk about legal entity. So, in terms of understanding enterprise and primary ledger, any questions, please? No questions. So, legal entity is a pretty straightforward and simple. What we have to do, how many registrations client has, those many legal entities we have to create in the system. There is no other point. How many registrations client has? 10 registrations. Create 10 legal entities. They have 100 registrations. How many legal entities we have to create? 100 legal entities. They have only one registration, one legal entity. There is no other logic, other kind of formula or logic or other probabilities. No, it is very much straightforward. So, how many registrations client has, those many legal entities we have to create in the system. When you look at the legal entities, in one country, you may do multiple businesses, but since country is same, one registration is enough. And in one country, when you are doing the multiple businesses, yes, one registration is enough. If you want to go with the multiple registrations, yes, you can go with the multiple
Hello.
registrations. It's a one or multiple. That is a client decision. Okay, they already taken decision. They are running the business. When we are mapping, when we are moving this data into
Hello.
one second. I'll stop and you can ask me. Yeah,
So
please.
sorry.
Yeah, don't mind. Just I'll stop because everywhere I'm stopping. I just stop here and I requested for questions. I'll when I pause, you can raise question. You may not wait till I request. Yeah, fine. Thanks. Okay. So it is not our decision. There is no logic which you have to come up. Okay. Only the point is when you are implementing for this, when you are implementing this vision application for the client, what you have to see how many registrations they have. You may come across in one country they have multiple registrations, or else you may come across with the use case they have only one registration in the country. Simple point is take that information, how many registrations they have, create those many legal entities. So that's how you can create legal entities. We are not going to decide, we are not going to suggest, we are going to ask and create. How do you ask how many registrations you have? We have 5 registrations. Please provide 5 registrations data to us. In most of the cases, client will share their registration incorporation certificate to us. By seeing that, we'll create legal entity in the system environment. That is the story of legal entity. There is no logic or magic within that. How many registrations they have, those many legal entities we have to create in the system. That's all. Any questions on legal entity? Please.
So, hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as per this, how many registrations the client has, legal registrations, those many legal entities we have to make
That's it.
for one
How many
country.
legal entities not? How many registration they have? Each registration we create in the system as a legal entity.
Oh,
Instead
okay.
of creating registration one, registration two, Oracle is giving the terminology as a legal entity, or you can call as a legal establishment.
So, just a query, like, on what basis the registration is done? Means like it's a GST
That
registration or something.
you no need to look into that. That is their decision, their business. Okay, you are a consultant. You should not ask why did you do these many registrations. No, no. They'll
No,
have a
no.
thousand reasons. That is not our job. Our job is we have to map their business into system. Okay. Our job is creating legal entity. How many legal entities we have to create? We are not going to take decision. We will ask the question, how many registrations do you have? Five registrations. Please provide five registrations. There is no point to ask why, how, and etc. See, take simple example. One company is operating the business in India and they are operating the business, same one business only, in 10 locations. They may have a separate registration for each location also. It is possible. In the same country, another company is operating the business in 10 locations, one business only. They may have a single registration because they taken decision like that. Or else in one country, one company is operating the 10 businesses in one country, they may have a 10 registrations. Another company is operating 10 businesses in the same country, they may have a single registration. How they want to report to the government, and there are many internal things they'll take into consideration. So accordingly, just they will take decisions and they will go with a one registration or multiple registrations. You may do 100 businesses in one country, one registration enough. All 100 businesses you take into one the memorandum of that company registration, then it is very much okay. Or else you go with a separate registration, and you can have a separate legal entities creation within the system. Okay, that is their internal. For us, what we have to for what we have to understand is how many registrations you have. Those many legal entities we have to create in the system. That's all. That is our task.
So basically, it depends totally on client whether how many legal entities or they need.
Yeah, same point we are discussing. Yes.
Okay, and one thing more, like if we have to create different primary ledgers in one country, so what are the different things needed? Like what we can say is for an umbrella organization, it's like different verticals. So if we create a different primary ledger, what different do we need?
That point already we discussed, right? I clearly mentioned few points. Okay, different businesses. Okay, as you mentioned, verticals. Okay, it could be different businesses, or else they may need different charter. Okay, so they have four businesses. Each business they want to have a separate primary ledger. There is no good reason. That is a client interest. Okay, they want to have a separate primary ledger because before moving to Fusion, they might be using some small accounting package, accounting systems and all. There they have been maintaining that separate ledgers. The same practice they want to use in Oracle Fusion, but Oracle has a greater capability. Even if you put everything as one, it would be more secure. So if they are not understanding, they'll be asking for separate primary ledgers also. So because businesses are different, okay, they may ask for separate primary ledger, or else for each business they may want to have a separate chart of account. That could be another reason why we have to go with a separate primary ledger in the single country. Typically, okay, 99% you see only one primary ledger in one country. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, fine. So that's all about legal entity. Okay, how many registrations client has, based on that we'll create those many legal entities and business units. Okay, how many business units we have to create? So most of the clients will go with business unit based on the legal entity. Okay, how many registrations they have, those many business units will create. If they have a 10 registrations, means 10 legal entities. 10 legal entities means 10 business units. Some clients, what they do is, say for example, they have a two registrations. Okay, means LE1, LE2. Two registration means two legal entity. Legal entity one, legal entity two. One possibility is they can have for LE1 one business unit, LE2 another business unit. Some clients, what they do is, with this registration, say they are running the business in two locations. Then they'll create for each location one business unit. With LE2, with the registration 2, they are operating the business in 4 locations. For each location, they can have one business unit. This is the reality when we are working. Some companies, what you see is for each legal entity, we create one business unit. For few clients, for each legal entity, we create multiple businesses because with that registration, they might be running the business in multiple locations, multiple branches. Okay. When we talk to the client will take the decision. Okay. We always says, hey, just you record all the transactions with the business unit concept. They may say we record every business transaction legal entity wise, then create legal entity as a business unit. If client says, so we have a registrations based on the registrations, we operate the business in the different locations, or else with one registration, we run multiple business. We always record the transactions business wise, not registration wise. So in that case, for each business, we have to create one business unit. Take example, they have one registration. Okay, they have 5 businesses. For each business, you may create one business unit. Okay, registration is one, but that registration for 5 businesses. Now they are doing the 5 businesses. Each business related transaction you have to record in the system. So if you want to record each business related transactions more detailed level, which will allow you to produce the reports for 5 businesses, registration is only one, but 5 businesses we are doing, 5 business units we have to create. If client says we don't worry about those different businesses, everything we want to capture at registration level, nothing but legal entity. For each legal entity, you create one business unit. Two key points. Your business unit may be created based on the legal entity, or else within the legal entity, you may have a multiple businesses. For each business, one business unit you may create, or else you have a registration, you have one registration, one legal entity, and you may have more than one business units. Reason, with the same registration, you might be operating the business in multiple locations. Every location you can take as a separate business unit. What is the benefit of business unit? What is the benefit of business unit? Okay, you can track transactions separately. Okay, tracking transaction. When you track the transaction separately, you can produce the reports, and you can build the security also. Say we have one LE, legal entity one, and within the legal entity we have one business unit, but we have 5 companies. When we are going to record the transactions, okay, when you are going to record the transactions, you don't want to allow one business to see another business related data. There you can set the security and you can set the controls also. This all you'll understand once you start working on the business unit related transactions. How tracking, how reporting, how we can establish a security, how we can set up the controls with the business unit level, and data segregation also. Tracking transactions means more or less that is connected to data segregation, and you can set certain defaults also. So this all can be facilitated by BU concept. Okay, if you have BU, each BU level only you can set. BU wise you can record the transactions, BU wise you can produce the reports, BU wise you can maintain the security, BU level only you can set certain controls, and BU wise only you can do the data segregation. BU wise you can set the defaults. Okay, just make a note. This all we are going to experience. Okay, when you deal with the BU, when you start creating the transaction within the business unit, how we are tracking, how the reports can be produced, BU wise, security controls, data segregation, and how we are going to set the certain default rules, etc., etc. Okay, so we may say this default rules. So this all can be established with a BU. So all the real business transactions are recorded BU level. Your payables transaction, if you want to record the transaction, the payables without BU, you cannot create any invoice or you cannot process any payment. From receivable side, if you want to create the sales invoice and if you want to record the receipt without BU, nothing will happen. From purchasing application, if you want to create the purchase orders, requisitions, etc., without BU, not possible. From the sales application, order management application, if you want to create any sales orders, if you want to process the sales order, the BU is required. So here the key placeholder, okay, key data segregation placeholder is the business unit. So what do you mean by business unit? Your legal entity can be your business unit, or else within that legal entity, if you have multiple businesses, each business could be your business unit, or else each outlet of the client, or each branch, or each plant, okay, each store or each office location could be their business unit. It could be legal entity, it could be your business, different businesses, or it could be the location of the business where you are operating. You may call it as a branch. These are the reality in the real world which we come across when we do the implementation. You are not going to decide which is the business unit. You tell them what does it mean by business unit. You will understand more detail level once we get into the system recording the transaction to understand how what is the business unit more detail level. Based on that, we will explain to the client what role this business unit is going to play. Accordingly, client will take decision. As per their decision only, we create the business units. Okay. If they choose, hey, just we want to have a each registration, each legal entity as a one business unit, create those many business units. If they says we have only 5 registrations, but we have 20 businesses, they may says each business we want to have as a separate business unit. Whenever we record the transaction that is more aligned with business only, along with that, yes, that is belongs to so and so legal entity. We don't focus on legal entity when you record the transaction. Always we focus which business is generating the sales, or which business is spending that expense. That is our focus. That is the reason we want to have every business as a one business unit. Or else they may say, yes, we have multiple businesses. Again, the multiple businesses are operated in the different locations. Instead of taking each business as a one business unit, within that business, how many branches we have, we may want to take each branch as one business unit. So that's how client will come back to us, and they will take the decision. Accordingly, we have to design our solution, like how many BUs are required. But the reality in the real world, you see, each legal entity may be business unit, or else if not legal entity, within under each legal entity, how many businesses they have, each business could be their business unit, or else in each business, how many branches, outlets they have, those many may be their business units. To take simple example, the company Walmart, if they have 100 outlets in US, they create 100 legal and 100 business units. Okay, so that is a typical example. So these are the points to map what can be created as a business unit. It could be our legal entity, it could be our each and every business, different vertical of business or line of business, or different type of business could be your business unit, or else you may have a one business or multiple businesses. Each outlet could be your business unit. What granular level you want to track and you want to generate the reports, and what level you want to find out your profitability and all, that you can take as a business unit. Okay. Enterprise always one, primary ledger for one country, one legal entity, how many registrations, those many business units. There is no straightforward point. So it could be legal entity based, it could be like business based, it could be branch based. That's it. That is a story of business unit. When you create business unit, what it will facilitate, these are the points. Now you cannot experience all this. Once we start creating the transaction within the business unit, this all will make sense for us. What does it mean? Why we are referring these as a business unit level capabilities? Okay, these are the capabilities. Business unit will have a capability of tracking the transactions business unit wise. It can produce the reports business unit wise. It can establish the security business unit wise. No other BUs can see this data. And you can set certain controls, how it should work. And data segregation you can do. And defaulting rules you can set up in the system. Okay. So that's how it works. And inventory organization is a pretty simple. How many warehouses they have, those many inventory organizations we have. Very simple. How many warehouses you are implementing for one client? The client has 100 warehouses to operate their business. So we have to create 100 warehouses in the system as 100 inventory organizations. 100 inventory organizations. And we'll create one additional also. Anyway, we will work on it at the time we'll discuss. As of now, that is not required much important for us. Simple point is when we are doing the implementation for any client, how many inventory organizations we have to create. Now the point is how many warehouses they have. Those many inventory organizations we have to create in the system. So enterprise only one primary ledger for one country, one primary ledger is enough. If they demand, if they want, there is no issue. We can create, but it won't become a best practice. And legal entities, how many registries they have, those many. Business units, totally depending on the mapping. What level, what they want to take as a business unit accordingly. It could be LE based or business based or branch based. And inventory organizations, how many physical warehouses they have, those many inventory organizations generally we create in the system. Sometimes client can go with a logical segregation also. They may have one, but in the system they want to create two. How they are operating, managing according, they may want to create more than. But as a best practice in the real world, how many warehouses the client has, those many inventory organizations we create in the system. Okay. So this is all about how we are going to create the client business environment in the system. If you create all these in the system environment, for this we'll give one title called as enterprise structure. We have seen chart of account structure. For chart of account related, we followed some structure, some hierarchy. The same way here also same is applicable. Enterprise structure. So, okay, we call it as enterprise structure. We have one more component we'll discuss that is not important and we don't use. These are the primary. So when you talk about enterprise structure, in the enterprise structure, top level we can have enterprise where you can maintain the employees information. Under enterprise, we have to maintain primary ledger. What is use of primary ledger? Say you may want to record employees related transactions at enterprise level, maybe paying the salaries to the employee, we use this primary ledger. Maybe you want to report to the government the legal related reporting or tax calculations, etc., based on the legal entity. We use primary ledger. When we are going to record the day-to-day business transactions at business unit level, maybe your purchases, sales, or invoice payments, etc., any activities, we need primary ledger. Okay, by using primary ledger only, you can record the day-to-day business transaction. You record many inventory related transactions, inflows, outflows, internally, many inventory related activities you do. All those activities, if you want to record with the date, description, and currency information, we need primary ledger. Okay, maybe to record the employee related transactions, to record the legal transactions, to record your business transaction with your suppliers and customer, to record your warehouse transactions, we need primary ledger. Okay, so primary ledger is very essential to record the transactions in any application or any level as we discussed. So this is how we have to bring the client environment into system as enterprise structure. When I talk about enterprise structure, top level we have enterprise, under enterprise we have primary ledger, under primary ledger we have legal entity, under legal entity we have business unit, under business unit we have inventory organization. Along with this, we have one more enterprise unit as a part of enterprise structure, but generally that there is no value addition. That is reason we don't use in the projects. What is that? Anyway, we'll see that. Okay, fine. What is that? So as a part of enterprise structure, under enterprise, we have a division also. Division. Now let's look into all these enterprise units. Enterprise level, we map the applications called as HCM. Okay, enterprise level, you maintain the employees information. How do you maintain the employees data? With HCM applications, with a human capital management application within HCM, we have HR application to maintain the employees. We have payroll application to run the employee payrolls. So as per enterprise structure, enterprise level HCM applications can be mapped. And primary ledger, as per enterprise structure, primary ledger level, we map the GL and FA applications. Okay, so FA, fixed assets application, and GL application. These two applications are mapped at primary ledger. Okay, primary ledger means within these GL application and the FA application, fixed assets application, if you are going to record the transactions, primary ledger is very mandatory. Of course, it's required everywhere. Along with that, something else would be there, but here only primary ledger. Okay, as per enterprise structure, your GL and FA applications are mapped at primary ledger. Legal entity level, we map the cash management application. Cash management application stands at legal entity level, and almost all remaining applications stands at BU level. Your AP application, AR application, and PO application, OM, order management application, project costing application, project billing application, and etc. 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 Many other applications stands at business unit level. And inventory organization level, the inventory application can be mapped. Inventory and some manufacturing application, MFG, manufacturing application like BOM, WIP, etc. etc. Those applications are mapped at these levels. Okay, so this is how those can be mapped. But division level, no application can be mapped. This is just placeholder. So we don't use the division as a one of the component in the enterprise structure. Ideally, where you can use the division, maybe each business type you may take as one division. Say you are into two businesses. One is financial services, other one is consulting services. You may take financials as one division, consulting business as another division. That's all. Or else you are running the business across the globe. Each region you may take as a one division. APAC region, EMEA region. Okay. So that's how you may take, okay, different geography as a different division, or else you are operating the business in one country only. So in one country you have 100 branches. You may take east division, west, north, south. These four you may take as divisions. This is just placeholder. No transactions can be recorded. So that is the reason generally we don't recommend to the client. Even if you recommend, no client is going to use. Typically, we don't include within the enterprise structure division as one of the component, because it is not going to add any value addition. When you are not able to record the transactions at division level, if it is just sitting idle in the enterprise structure, what is the benefit? So that is the reason. So division is not adding any value addition for enterprise structure. So if some client wants to use division, better you can suggest division as one of the segment in their chart of account, so that the transactions belongs to which division they can capture. Okay, that's how we see the reality. So this is just for information purpose. Again, division is completely optional. Enterprise is mandatory, primary ledger is mandatory, legal entity, business unit, inventory organization is mandatory when you do the implementation for any client. But division is completely optional since there is no value addition. So for information purpose, you just capture the reality, you can ignore it. Okay, you can ignore it. So that's how it is. Okay, so that's how it is. Here, what we taken inventory, right? Manufacturing application. So this you can eliminate. Okay, just for information purpose, you can count reality. You can just eliminate it. You don't need to count it. So within this enterprise structure, these are the different enterprise units, you can say. These are the part of enterprise. So these are the units. These are the parts, components. So what level, what applications are mapped? This is information. And what level you prepare the reports means business unit level. You are going to record all the transactions at business unit level. The reports you will produce at business unit level. Even you record the transactions at business unit level, okay, ultimately all this application data you will send to GL only. You will send to your primary ledger. The level of reports creation is business unit. The place of reports creation is primary ledger. Within the GL, you prepare your financial reports, but those are originated based on business unit. You create the transaction business unit wise, you send the data to GL. That's how you prepare the reports at business unit level. Okay. So you create the transactions at business unit level, you send the data to GL, and the place to create reports is GL, but the level of reporting will be always BU level since you are creating the transaction BU level. So this is a very, very important point we have to understand. So what is enterprise structure? These are the points we have to understand. Enterprise structure, like we have top level enterprise. Okay, here we are not marking. Ideally, these are just we have to represent like this. Top level enterprise. Okay, top level we have enterprise. Under enterprise, okay, we'll have prime. Under enterprise we have primer ledger. Under primer ledger we have legal entity, and under legal entity we have business unit. Under business unit we have inventory organization. Okay, we have inventory organization. This is the hierarchy. This is structure. So this is designed and developed by Oracle. So you know we are not going to rearrange. Okay, you cannot do that. This is what is enterprise structure means. So enterprise structure means where we are going to organize company information like employees, registration, business, and the stock related information by defining the structure like top level enterprise and enterprise primer ledger under primer ledger legal entity under legal entity business unit under business unit inventory organization. This is how we create the enterprise structure, and each level based on our setups which we are going to do. So these applications are aligned like that. Okay, what level which applications are mapped? Enterprise level we map HCM applications. Primer ledger level we map GL and FA applications. Legal entity level we map cash management application. Business unit level we map these are all like APR applications. Inventory organization level, inventory and manufacturing applications are mapped. So what is the mapping and all? When you are working, you will see. That means if you want to create invoice in the AP, you cannot create without business unit. Okay, you cannot create without business unit. Okay, so that's how it is. Okay, if you want to create any transaction within the inventory application, without inventory organization, you cannot create any transaction within the inventory. So that's how it is. Okay. So in the respective application, without these, you cannot perform any transactions. That is the meaning of so enterprise structure. Reports, what level you can generate means business unit level. Yes, we'll create the transactions and we'll produce the reports business unit level. The reality, we pull the data from all the transaction data into GL. GL is the place where we prepare the reports. That's how it works. That's all about enterprise structure. Now we discussed about and almost we created primer ledger, of course, calendar chart of accounts ready. So in the tomorrow session, what we are going to do, we will see how to create the primer ledger, how to create the legal entity, how to create the enterprise, how to create the business unit. Once we are clear about it, then we can start working on one by one application. Okay. So this is what we have to understand about enterprise. In tomorrow session, before we create primer ledger, I will add few more points, the best practices which you have to follow when you design the chart of accounts and the segments in the real world. What are the naming conventions we come across with the segment names apart from what we discussed? We'll discuss those 2 points. Okay. So primarily COA best practices and segments naming. These are the 2 points we'll discuss. Then we'll proceed with our primer ledger legal entity creation, and rest also will complete so that we can start working on the system to record the transactions one by one applications. So we are done for today. If you have any questions, please stay back. We'll discuss. Okay. If no questions, we'll connect tomorrow same time. Any
Lakshman sir.
questions from anyone, please?
Yeah, Lakshman sir. I think last time I think we have requested for 15 hours live classes videos in the Google Drive, no, sir. Because until unless we practice each video 2-3 times, no, because
No,
sometimes
don't worry. Now you are in the beginning, right?
yeah,
You start follow the sequence. You will get it. Okay.
okay,
Any cost you will get it. And again, those will be placed in this current drive also. The previous drive, if those are not available, no worries. I'll place it. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just clarity I'll give
Lakshman
you.
sir,
Yeah, please.
actually, I'm not able to log in into given instances, which it
I
says
just
authentication
updated
failed.
today. As I mentioned, we just had a break because of the selections and all, right? So instance was not available from the respective source. Today morning, I updated instance. You have a three login credential, three usernames. Try with anyone. But one thing, see, somebody, a few guys might be just tagging that instance in the favorites, and they might be keep hitting the same. But if whenever you see instances not working, always go back and cross check with our drive. So there you can find updated information. Okay, in the morning itself I updated. Okay, you can check the same instance even I used for today class. Okay, this is the same
Uh,
instance I used. Cross check once again. Okay, cross check
this
or try to
instance,
log in. Yeah.
yeah, actually, this instance dev62 is not given in the instances
No. You
file.
check in the current batch drive videos.
Okay.
Okay. May batch drive. Don't cross check past. Those we may update, may not update, since that is for previous batch guys. So you check in the current batch.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm
May
just
batch.
quickly
May batch
checking.
Google Drive
Yeah,
access you have, right?
yeah, I do have.
There you check this. Yep. Done. Any questions, please?